Hey, did you know that you can play chords on this? Yeah, this. What's up, fam? And welcome back to the channel. And if this is your first time on the channel, what's up, fam? Welcome to the channel, and consider subscribing if you're into making beats on the iPad or your iPhone. I might have something coming up for you in the future. So I've been getting a lot of feedback from you guys, and some of you guys' concerns are pretty legitimate. One of the biggest concerns is that everybody doesn't play keys as fluent as everybody else, right? If you're not necessarily fluent in playing the keyboard or piano keys, don't worry about it. Today I'm gonna show you how to fix all that. I'm gonna show you how you can play real chords, real time, inside your DAW using a virtual MIDI controller or even any pad-based MIDI controller. Let's tap in. Alright, so we know that we can go into the chord section in BeatMaker 3 and we can pick our scales, harmonic major sevenths and stuff like that. But when we go into the keys, but the only problem is with that is when we go into the keys function, it only plays the scale of that selected chord, right? So even if we wanted to play different variations of chords or different chord progressions, it wouldn't change unless we change them over here in our chords, chords list. So what you would then have to do is record it internally and then sample it and then play it back, and then it's just a lot of work, right? And on top of that, within BeatMaker 3 there's not a whole lot of control when it comes to playing those keys outside of being able to play with the velocity sensitivity with an external MIDI controller. So a really cool solution that I found and I've really been enjoying is an app called Chordpolypad. And with Chordpolypad, you can actually choose your different chords and assign them to each pad. And if you want me to do a whole review on this app and go through all the ins and outs of this, let me know in the comments and I'll consider doing an extensive review on it. But let's just dive in and see what we're working with right offhand. So in Chordpolypad, it enables you to play chords and create different chord progressions while playing them real time on screen or even with the MIDI controller. So here you can see that I already have Chordpolypad set up, and what is going on is that I actually have it mapped to virtually control BeatMaker 3. It's sending those MIDI chords that I play through the pad and taking that MIDI information and then importing it real time into BeatMaker 3. And it's actually using whatever instrument that I have selected inside of BeatMaker 3 at the time. And in this case, I have the Neo Soul keys loaded up. It's no sample, it's all MIDI, so these will play these MIDI chords real time when I press these when I press these pads. So if you can see, after I tap this pad, that the chord that's being played will show up on my piano. So within the app, it has tons of different chord presets, so you can change up the chords and even load different chords in. You can even go in and load up different chords that you think might fit in your session and pull them over and drag and drop them right over onto your pads. So now that that chord is loaded there, I'm playing the corresponding chord, and those play like that. So let me go over here and turn BeatMaker 3's, what I did, go over here and turn this off. I have chord mode turned on. So when you go over here, so you can see that it's playing that C minor chord because I just loaded it onto the pad. And then if I take another chord progression, it plays another variation of C minor. Same chord, just a different way of playing it. So in this one, plays a higher octave, and this one plays a lower octave. And this one plays an even lower octave. And the beauty of being able to play this with the external MIDI controller is that you still have that velocity sensitive feedback. So when these two are joined together, you have the ability to be as expressive as you want. let's say you don't want your chord to sound so robotic, right? You even have pad controls over here to where you can control how fast those chords will play, just like you would with your finger control on a regular keyboard. So on that last chord progression, we have that being recorded upward. So if you're playing it on the left hand, it will start with the pinky on up. I don't know if you can hear that, but it kind of strummed up. And if I drag this timing over here, you can hear it play it a little bit more. You can do the same thing just for a different chord progression and just strum it downward. You pull that timing up and you can hear how it plays downward on the keyboard. And finally we have this one. I want to strum this one down. And then finally we have a random button to where we can set the keys to play at random. And that sounds a little bit more like you're playing actual keys instead of somebody hitting somebody hitting pads. And like I said, since these pads are velocity sensitive, you can be as expressive as you want. So I already loaded up some chords and I tweaked them a little bit. And from the same screen, you can even edit your notes and play them as they change. You can add notes or you can take some away. And you can hear as I play it, it'll change the whole dynamic of the chord. It changes the whole chord and the way it's played. And it even changes the name so that you know what pad does what. Like I said, I'm not going to do a whole review on it. There's tons of videos out. There's tons of videos on YouTube reviewing this thing and how it works. But I'm going to show you how you can use this in your workflow. So we already have BeatMaker 3 loaded up. And what we did was we went into our settings tab and we went to setup. And then we connected our MIDI controller to Chordpolypad. Now Chordpolypad is actually running in the background. And we just loaded up an audio instrument inside of BeatMaker 3 so that it can control it. And the way I controlled it and the way that I set that up is that I set up my output. So to control BeatMaker 3 from within Chordpolypad, go into your output settings and then select BeatMaker 3 as your output MIDI device. What that does is tell this app to control BeatMaker 3 and play the notes corresponding with each pad. Also with the MIDI controller, you can switch between screens and still be able to play. So if you need to make any changes, you don't have to keep going back and forth between screens to even audition what your sound will sound like. So usually what you will have to do is hit record, let it count you in, try and beat the timer so that you can record your chord progression. With the MIDI controller, that cuts all that out, so you just hit record, count you in. So let's say that second time around you want to play it a little bit differently and you want a little bit more expression. So what you would then do is go back into Chordpolypad and adjust accordingly. So let's say I want this to play a little bit more randomly. I want this to play a little bit more randomly, just not as slow. I want this to strum up, just a little bit slower. I think I want that to stay where it is. So let's go back to BeatMaker 3 and hit record again. One thing that I forgot. When you do that, this is still MIDI notes being played into your DAW. So you will have to take off the quantize in order to maintain that strum that you would with the regular keyboard. So you can see how it played those strums. We can even go in and look at those. So let's record that. So we can go into pads and we can see that those MIDI notes recorded as well. So if you don't know how to play keys and you're still learning and you just can't play them real time just yet the way you want to, you can start with this app, and as you progress and learn your ways around the keyboard, you'll be able to play along with some chord progressions that you've already learned inside of that app. And this app can actually help you develop a more full sound. And it's an easier way to stay minimalistic, because if you only want to carry this and you don't have room to take your MIDI keyboard with you, something like this can be a game changer when you're out and about and you just want to record some things, especially when you only have this and your cell phone. These both fit right into your pockets. There's no more excuses as to why you can't record full songs or even start some great ideas using chords playing on the go, either on your iPad or even your iPhone. With these tools, you can really get a lot done. I really hope that this tip was helpful to somebody, because for me, I'm really excited to see what you guys will come up with. Even for some of the people who do not play keyboard at all, this is a game changer for you, because this will enable you to play and create something that you wouldn't normally create, because now you have the ability to play chords. So if this was helpful to you, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you know somebody who can benefit from this information, I'll put a link to the app and the products that I use in the description below too. Go ahead and share it, fam. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I'll be here every week giving you tips and tricks on how to improve your workflow. This has been Brandon Rico, back again with another BeatMaker 3 tutorial. And remember, if I can create like this, then you can create like this. Tap into your full potential, stay inspired, and create something new today. Peace.